Welcome to the January the 8th, 1991 taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of Grand Prairie and the people that were responsible for a lot of that history. Also, this is our history tape number 137. We are so pleased to have with us today Mr. and Mrs. Woody Hendricks, very long-time residents of Grand Prairie, Texas, and we want to welcome them to the set today. Woodrow, Woody Hendricks, welcome to the set.
Thank you.
And Tulsa, we're so delighted that you joined, Woody.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here with us today. And as we set the stage for this history tape, we'd like, Tulsa, for you to look out into your camera and tell us a little bit about the history of Tulsa, and we'd like to have your genealogy, if you'd give us your mother and father's name and the name of any brothers or sisters, and anything you want to say about that family.
Okay, I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We left there and came to Texas when I was 3 months old and settled in the Watson community.
Okay.
I have one brother, or had one brother, who is deceased. His name was William. My mother's name was Mary Sue Lassiter Cluck, and my father's name was Ernest Cluck. We came to Grand Prairie and settled and moved into the town of Grand Prairie in 1923.
Okay. All right, 1923 to Grand Prairie. When you all moved from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Grand Prairie into the Watson community, what was your dad doing for a living then?
He was a bridgeman. He worked for the Missouri Valley Bridge and Iron Company, and we traveled, and that's what we were doing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When I was born, my father was a bridgeman and was working for this company. And they, of course, took us from one town to the other, wherever they were fixing to go to California to work on the big bridge out there, and my mother said no, she wouldn't go. She wanted to start us to school and settle at home, so we came back to Grand Prairie.
To Grand Prairie, Texas?
Yes.
Oh, that is wonderful. All right, and as you were growing up in the Watson community, when did you start to school, and where did you go to school, Tulsa?
Well, I started school here in Grand Prairie.
All right.
And I graduated in 1934.
1934, class of 34. That was, all right. Can you remember anything about 1934, say 1930s, when you were going to school, the superintendent or maybe your favorite teacher or something?
Well, C.B. Gentry was the principal,
All right.
or superintendent rather,
All right.
at Grand Prairie High School when we were in high school. The first time I ever remember coming to Grand Prairie to the school was I came with my uncle in a wagon, and we came to get groceries. And we come by the schoolyard, and all the kiddos were out there playing. I thought, oh, I'll be so glad to be old enough to go to school. And I got to start school there. And when we came back from Little Rock, we had been to Little Rock on a job. And we came back from Little Rock. Well, I started school there at the old schoolhouse now, where the administration building is.
All right.
Was where the school was then.
All right. Now, when your dad couldn't go to San Francisco to help work on the bridge, did he continue in that business?
No,
or did
he went to work for Brown's Cracker and Candy Company, which is now Sunshine Biscuit Company. And they had a building here in Grand Prairie, Brown's Cracker Company, down by the old Urban building. Do you remember that?
I remember that building, yes.
Yes.
And your dad worked there?
My daddy went to work there and then went to work in Dallas at the Brown's Cracker and Candy Company. And one of the main things I could remember about it was Mr. Brown, the old man that owned and operated that business. He had as his motto, what Texas makes, makes Texas.
How wonderful.
And my daddy worked for that company until he died, and my brother started to work in his place for the same company, only it was Sunshine Biscuit Company then.
All right. And graduating in 1934, we're going to leave you right there for just a minute. Then we're going to get back to you and find out how you met Woodrow Hendricks. But let's get to Woody. Woody, how about looking out into your camera now and tell us about your genealogy, all about your folks.
Well, of course, my father was J.H.B. Hendricks, and mother was Sally.
What was her maiden name?
Sally Emma Mitchell.
All right.
And,
okay.
Of course, they growed up in Midlothian.
All right.
And, in fact, that's where I was born. And I was a year and a half old when we moved to Grand Prairie, and, of course, I've been here ever since.
All right. Now, what did your daddy do for a living in Midlothian before he moved here?
He was a farmer.
He was a farmer. Good.
And, of course, when he moved here, then in 1919 is when the business started.
Okay.
And
you moved here, they moved here in 1919? All right. And then he opened up what business?
Well, it was real estate and insurance.
Real estate and insurance.
He stayed in that until up in the old Guarantee State Bank is where he opened up.
All right, now the Guarantee State Bank was located on what corner in Grand Prairie as of 1991?
It was on the southwest corner of Center and Main Street.
Where the Zawicki building is at this time?
Yeah.
All right.
That's where the bank was.
All right, and I'm not familiar with that bank. That is very exciting.
Yeah.
And it's the old Guarantee Bank.
Guarantee State Bank.
Guarantee State Bank. Good. You remember who the president was of that bank or any part about it?
Wagner.
Mr. Wagner.
I don't know what his first name was, but Mr. Wagner.
All right. Now, and you were born in Lancaster, and when you moved to Grand Prairie, what schools did you go to, Woody?
Just Grand Prairie is all. Grand Prairie High.
Grand Prairie High School. Tell me something about your school career here. If you had any special teachers that meant a lot to you, that encouraged you, what'd you do in school? Were you a specialist in some field?
No. Played a little football.
All right.
And just like everybody else, just got through it.
Just barely got through it. Yes, you bet.
I thought the Sunday school teacher, didn't she teach us?
Maxine Bodine.
Maxine Bodine?
Was
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
One of your teachers?
She's one of the
That's right.
teachers, yeah. I remember that. But, no, that's wrong.
And you were a gopher until when?
Well,
34.
yeah.
34.
Yeah.
1934.
33 and 34.
33 and 34.
And,
all right. And when you got out of school then, what did you decide you wanted to do?
well, that's when we moved to our present location. We started there in 1932, and I was working after hours, but in 34, of course, I just moved over full time.
All right, who opened the store? Who was the original?
My dad.
Your dad was.
Yeah.
In other words, he had transitioned from the insurance and other business.
No, he brought it along with it. We had it there too.
Oh, you did?
And then he opened a feed manufacturing business, and at the same time, I started selling Maytag washing machines.
All right, now
In
this feed
1932.
manufacturing place, tell me about that. Where was it located?
Well, it's right where we're at now. It
In
was
other words, he manufactured
the east
feed
side
there,
of the
too?
building. And we manufactured that feed, and along with selling appliances up until, I come back from World War II. And then we phased out everything except the appliances.
Except the
So-
appliances. Okay, and that's Hendricks Brothers that's located at what number on East Main?
121 East Main.
121 East Main.
Yeah.
I understand from all of the Chamber of Commerce and everything else in town that you have the oldest running business in the city at the same location.
That's correct.
I think we ought to give Hendricks Brothers a star for all of that. That is a long run on Main Street in Grand Prairie, Texas.
That's right.
All right, now after, when you started the business on Main and had all of this feed store and everything going in at the same time, you mentioned you dropped a little clue there about going to World War II. Tell me about being drafted or enlisting, or how'd you get in that war?
Well, I didn't get a whole lot of it. Brother, of course, he was in for about 4 years.
All right, now we haven't mentioned your brother, have we?
That's J.B.
J.B. Jr.
That's right.
All right.
And of course, they got him early because he was radio technician, and they put him in the Signal Corps, and of course he's in there about 4 years.
Yes.
But I was only in there 1 year.
All right. Well, what branch of the service did you go
I
into?
was in the Navy.
You were in the Navy. All right. Where did they give you your boot camp or whatever they do to
At
Navy
San
people?
Diego.
Oh,
That's the only place I got to.
Into San Diego?
As far as I got.
Oh, well, wasn't it? That was a blessing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was.
Yes. Well, all of the time that you were in San Diego, now we have left out one person in your family that we did not name, and that is your sister. Tell us about her.
Well, Juanita, of course, we lost her when she was 29. Now, of course, she went to and graduated from high school here.
All right.
She married Quince Clary, and of course, she's only 29 years old when we lost her.
That was a very sad time.
She had one son.
Oh, she had one son. Would you like to name her son?
It's Michael Wayne Clary. And he still lives in the old home place.
Oh, he does. Oh, that is great. Here in Grand Prairie, Texas?
Yeah, on 611 Crockett.
Okay. And that's considered the old home place of the Hendricks.
That's right.
That is great.
We moved in 1919.
All right. J.B. Jr., did he leave any children?
Yeah, he has two. Betty Kate Scruggs.
All right.
And J.W. Hendricks. And, of course, John, my son John, and Chubb, we retired in 81, and we turned it over to them.
All right. Now, we're going to get back with Tulsa and let her talk a little bit more about the kids. All right. You've name-dropped some of them, but let's start over with the kids and their family and the spouses, and so we can get your grandkids and great-grandkids in here, Tulsa.
Okay.
All right.
Our oldest son, John,
All right.
his name is John William,
All right.
and he married Peggy Goff. And they have 3 children, 3 boys. Randy, Rusty, and Rodney.
Well, that's great, isn't it?
3 R's.
All right. How about these 3 boys? Are they any of them in school? Are they all graduated or what?
They've all finished school. Randy is teaching school in Arlington.
Okay.
Rusty works for, he's changed companies and I don't know the name, but he is a
Computer?
computer technician.
Oh, wonderful. And how about Rod?
And Rodney is too. They both work. He works for Lone Star Gas.
All right. Do you have any? These were all grandchildren from
All
John.
3 grandsons for John. All right.
Did any of them
Nita-
have any kids?
Oh yes, Lord, don't ask me to name
I'm
them.
not going to ask you to name all the great grandkids.
No.
We don't want to get into those. All right. What's your next kid?
Our next kid is Nita, John's twin. They were twins.
Okay. Twins. Wonderful.
Yes, and Dr. Copeland delivered those twins.
Great. All right. Now tell me about Nita.
Nita has 3 sons.
All right.
Her boys are
What is Nita's last name?
Patterson.
Patterson. Okay. Name her kids.
All right, her oldest boy now they're by a former marriage.
That's fine.
All right. Her oldest boy is Butch. We call him Butch. His name's Raymond Woodrow, but we call him Butch.
Named after Woody. How
Yes,
great. Good.
Her second boy is Scott,
All right.
and the third boy is Gary.
All right.
And by the way, Gary was called into service this last week.
All right.
Last week in December. He's in California.
He's in California. What branch of the service is he in?
He's a Marine.
Okay. All right. Now, how about your other son?
Our other daughter,
Daughter. Okay.
yeah, is Rebecca Sue. We call her Becky. And
And her last name?
is Burleson.
Burleson. Earl Burleson.
Earl
is-
Burleson is her husband.
Okay. Name their children.
They have 3 children. Their oldest is Terry.
All right.
Denise.
Denise.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Spain.
Spain.
All right.
All right. The second one is Ricky, and he he works for his daddy in their business, which is Serviceman Supply. And so does the youngest one, is Ronnie. They both work for their daddy.
Good. That is wonderful.
Serviceman Supply.
All right, and do almost all of these live in the Grand Prairie area or in the
Grand Prairie and
Metroplex?
Arlington.
Grand Prairie and Arlington.
Uh-huh.
Boy, you tied them all down, Woody,
Yeah,
and made them
right.
stay close by.
Keep them home.
That is great. Can you tell me in a round figure how many great-grandchildren you have? 10, 12?
We
or
have
15?
12, and in April we'll have the 13th one.
Plus one in April. And that's of your greats.
Yes.
Any great-greats?
No.
None of those
No.
yet. All right, now before we leave you, Tulsa, let's find out a little bit about you, because you were very important here in community service and all of that good stuff, and you even taught in Miss Wagner's school. Tell us about teaching in Miss Wagner's school. How did
Not
you
Miss
get into
Wagner's,
that?
Miss Donnelly.
Miss Donnelly's.
Miss Donnelly's school.
All right, Miss Donnelly's.
I worked for her for 7 years. I taught in her schools. And then
That was a private school,
it
wasn't
was a
it?
private school, yes.
Yes, okay.
And then, of course, I worked in PTAs from the time my children started. I was homeroom mother for my children from the time they started to school until they graduated.
Wonderful.
And then I went to working in the PTAs, and I was secretary over at Lee. And then I went over to the high school and was secretary over there, and then was president of the high school PTA, and then president of the city council PTA. We have-
Which let you serve on the District 2 board.
Yes, and then we also organized several of the PTAs in the schools that, you know, Tom Holly, I worked with him a lot, and, you know, he was a wonderful person
You bet.
to work with. And we worked in PTA a lot, and I enjoyed every minute
And
of it.
you've also done double duty, that Woody has had you down doing all sorts of stuff at the business that
I had to
Hendricks
go to
Brothers.
work in self-defense.
All right, okay.
I went to work at the store doing their bookkeeping there and helping in the business.
About 25, 30 years.
About 25, 30 years, I guess.
That is great. But you are retired now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you are completely retired.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
We're going to get back to retirement in a minute and tell us if you've got a lake house or something. But Woody, come on, let's have a little bit more about this business down on Main Street, and about Woody and the fact that you were president of the quarterback club and all of this kind of good stuff. Why did you get so involved in the quarterback club?
Oh, well, son John.
Son John.
Playing football.
Chubb bet.
consequently,
And Chubb played football.
And yeah, Chubb both.
Yes.
And of course,
And Chubb is your nephew.
Yes, he's the
That's
one that's in the business with John.
Yes. And Chubb stands on the gate, guarding the gate over at the football game, and
That's
won't
right,
let
he's
you
still
in
there.
unless you got a pass.
That's right. He's still
bet.
out there.
You bet.
And I think he's still working with the quarterback club. But
Yes.
of course, I'm just like most everybody, you know, when your kiddos graduate, then you kind of fade out of that and let the younger ones take it over. But I enjoyed it.
Well, I remember you in the downtown merchants. Even before we had a Chamber of Commerce, you were into the downtown merchants. And downtown then was Main Street
That's right.
and Jefferson, right in that area. Tell us about some of the folks
Well,
that you
of course.
worked with then.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, Durwood Sutton was always a big worker.
Yes.
Oscar Long was.
Yeah.
Frank Thompson. And the gentleman that run Pennies.
Sam Dawson.
Sam
Mr. Sam
Dawson was all,
Dawson.
and of course
Pennies.
Deary Miller was always in the big middle of anything we had going on. But then we had all kinds. It's pretty live moments. We had some kind of motion going on all the time down there then. But
Sidewalk sales and
oh yeah,
specials.
Yeah. Yeah, we had something going on about every 90 days. We had something of some kind of a sale going on that all the merchants participated in too. Every one of them.
Well, I know that in a man in business, I'd like for you to just name drop probably one or two people that helped you in business, that maybe was your banker, your lawyer, or someone. If you'd name drop somebody like that.
Little Ernie Staver and Durwood Sutton.
Real important to you in the business world, aren't they?
Sure.
Okay. Also, are you a member of any organizations or lodges that you would like to mention?
Yeah, just Masonic lodges.
Masonic Lodge. Which Masonic Lodge? There are two in town.
Yeah, Sam R. Hamilton, the old one.
The old Sam R. Hamilton Lodge, the same one my dad worked through.
Yeah, right.
You bet. Okay. And any other, have you served on any committees for the city, like on any boards or commissions or anything like that you'd like to name drop about?
Just on Chamber of Commerce.
I worked chamber, no. Yeah, I worked for 2 or 3 of them down there, but they didn't, I wasn't head of none, didn't run any of them or anything like that.
Yeah, but you worked on them, right?
Oh, yeah. Anytime they hollered, well, yeah, I was available most of the time.
Okay, that is good. All right, now let's get a little bit more about this Hendricks Brothers on East Main Street, and I'm interested in this feed store. How many people were working in that with you all at that time?
Let's see.
You and your dad?
Yeah, and my brother, and an old gentleman named Gary Evans.
Gary Evans?
He worked with us for years.
Name some of your employees that we want to put in this record that were important to you.
What's Coke's last name?
Coke Dean.
Yeah, Coke Dean. He worked for us for quite a number of years. And
Jimmy Duval.
Jimmy Duval worked for us for a little while right after World War II.
All right, now let's show and tell some of these pictures. We'd like to show this picture first of all, and I'd like you to hold it up right here and tell us who this is.
That's Mom and Dad.
That is your mother and your daddy. Could you tell us approximately what year that was taken?
Let's
In the
see.
50s?
No, it wasn't.
40s?
It's somewhere along in, yeah. Yeah, about 50. That's about right. About 50.
All right, and that's your parents. That is a good photograph, isn't it? Wonderful. Okay, now let's get some pictures of the business here, and let's you and I see if we can manage those. Let's get the oldest one that you have.
Well, I didn't have the one of the original because, well, I didn't find it. I don't know where I put it.
It's probably hanging on the wall down at your place, isn't it?
This is the old gentleman that worked for us
All right,
way back there for many,
let's hold
many
this
years.
up and see if we can clue that in. I don't know whether the camera can pick that. Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job, aren't they?
He was with us many, many years.
All right.
People.
He'll be glad he was on television, wouldn't he? Okay, now show us. Let's hold this up and tell us. That has the old Maytag sign out. Do you have that out now, like that?
No, it's been stored since then.
Okay.
This was taken about 48, 49.
All right. Now let's see another one that you have there. That this one looks like that is older than Dallas. Look at those old washing machines.
Yeah, that's the old Maytag. That's what I cut my teeth on.
Yes.
That's what he got out.
And an old estate range.
Is it true what they say about the Maytag man that you very seldom get called on for repairs?
It's pretty true.
It is just pretty true. Isn't that wonderful?
And that's my brother there.
Okay.
That's JB.
That is JB back in the background.
He done all the technical work.
And this is
for us.
Jimmy
Duval.
Duval. Okay, we're
all the maintenance and everything
was done
brother
right there.
yeah.
All right, how about this one other picture we have here?
Well-
Let's show that. Is this more recent?
No, that's just,
That has the old Maytags in the window,
that's
doesn't
right.
it?
This is after we had tore the front out and put a new front in it. And
But you still had some of the
Yeah,
old
that
Maytags
is-
showing.
yeah,
All right. Now, we have some little bitty pictures. I don't know whether we can see this, but I love this one with the little old car. See if you can hold that up here where the camera can get to it
This is taken on Main Street.
very carefully. They're on Main Street. And that looks like it might be in the 30s or 40s. Look at that old car.
yeah, it
Model
was.
T.
Yeah, it was way back there in the early
Yes.
30s.
All right.
right.
There's one. You ought to try that one. See if we can get a shot of that and tell us who that one is. Yeah.
That's Pop.
Is that Pop?
Yeah, now looking at that old radio, that was taken about 48, 49.
Is that Pop Bostic?
No, that's my daddy.
That is your daddy.
Yeah.
Your father.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful. Hold that one real still and see if we can zoom up on that one real good. Okay. That is wonderful. That is a historic old picture, isn't it?
Yeah, to us it is.
All
I
right.
thought I had one in there, that first neon sign in Grand Prairie, but I guess I didn't put it in there. We bought the first neon sign, yeah.
All right.
First neon sign in Grand Prairie.
All right, let's hold that one up right here by your tie so they can see that. The very first neon sign in Grand Prairie, Texas was out over Hendricks
That's
Brothers.
correct. And Dewey Miller followed with less than 2 months. Dewey Miller had one.
Uh-huh. He saw you and he had to copy that, didn't he?
No, don't know about that, but I mean, that was the first two.
Let me see if we can get the gloss
We got
off
the
of
first
that.
one, and
Yeah, that is good. All right, we just have about 3 minutes more, and I need to get just a little bit more about Mr. Hendricks and some of the things that y'all are doing now that you're into retirement. What are you doing, Woody?
oh, I stay busy all the time.
Listen at
Building
this.
old log houses, and
Yes.
we got a place up at Possum Kingdom Lake we've had for 25, 30 years, and we
Yes.
spend part of our time up there.
All right.
Oh, got something going all the time.
Yes, uh-huh. Do you spend any time at Hendricks Brothers downtown
Oh, yeah,
Grand Prairie?
yeah.
Oh, you still are
Yeah.
supervising the world?
No, but I still go down there and do a little chasing for them.
Kind of nosing around a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I just seem like
Has to keep his finger.
I got to go.
Yeah.
It seemed like.
I got to go and check them.
Yeah.
All right, Tulsa, tell us what you're doing in retirement.
Well, I'm making quilts for the grandkids.
Oh, great.
And I've got, it's kind of a hobby. I always could piece quilts and do things like that, but this is something I've just picked up recently and started doing. So I've got 1.5 made. I got another 1.5 to go yet.
All right, and is your home still down on Grand Prairie Road?
Yes.
That is
it
great.
is,
Same old
uh-huh.
And all those pretty logs at the front.
Yeah.
Oh,
We've
that
been there
is
See,
since
we're right across the street
48.
from the...
Charlie Taylor Rec Center.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
And you've
we've
been there how many years?
Since 48.
1948. Well, y'all certainly have made a great contribution to Grand Prairie in the about a minute and a half that we have left. Woody, I'd like for you to comment on Grand Prairie now, and what do you think about it now?
Well,
How has it changed?
oh, it's changed. It's, of course, downtown Grand Prairie, is still, as far as I'm concerned, downtown Grand Prairie, but it's nothing like it used to be at all.
It's not the main part, is it?
No, not anymore. It sure
Yes.
isn't. I think everything looks like it's going to move south. But of
And do
course,
y'all attend church here in Grand
Yeah,
Prairie?
we
Where
go-
do you go to church?
First Baptist, we've been going there since 1927.
Well, we had to put that in, or Dr. Poteet would be mad at us.
That's
wouldn't he?
right.
That is great. Well,
Yeah.
y'all don't know how I've appreciated your taking your time out to tell us about Hendricks Brothers business, the oldest one on Main Street in Grand Prairie, Texas, or anywhere in Grand Prairie for that matter. And I want to thank you, Tulsa, for encouraging Woody to come down and do this, because we know the feeling, and because it's very important. The Hendricks people have been very important to the town and still are, and all your kids and grandkids. And I want to thank you all for taking time to do this. Appreciate y'all very, very much, and thank you for all you've done for the community. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do. And thank y'all again.